Noble, Georgia is home to one of the most gruesome and unethical cases in funeral service, I think, ever. I am talking about the Tri-State Crematory Scandal. This scandal was ran by a man named Ray Marsh, who had taken over a crematory business from his father in the late 90s. It only took from the late 90s to the early 2000s, about the year 2002, for there to become a gruesome discovery about this case. In Noble, Georgia, at the crematory, it was discovered that there was hundreds of thousands of bodies that had been left on the ground, in bins, under trees, in ponds, anywhere that you could think of on this rural farmland. Bodies were left when they were supposed to be cremated and returned back to their loving, respected families. I'm here today to talk about the ethical dilemmas when dealing with Noble, Georgia. And are there ethical dilemmas? First and foremost, might I add, there is no ethical standpoint that this man, Ray Marsh, could have taken that could ever justify what he did. In early 2002, the Environmental Protection Agency received an anonymous tip about the Tri-State Crematory. And under that investigation, people discovered skulls, bones of human origins, clothing, people with hospital bands, people that were supposed to have been cremated and returned to their loved ones were sitting in this man's yard, in the pond out back. No ethical person could ever leave a body laying in a field somewhere, leave them just out in the weather and not do the job that he was assigned to do. He chose to take over this crematory, and with that, he should have taken on the responsibility needed to educate, to make sure his job was done properly. But he did not do that. He instead decided to lie and try to wiggle his way out of the fact that he failed these families. Over 300 bodies were found, barely identifiable. Some remains were fresh, some were just skeletons. It's untelling how long exactly some of those bodies were left on there. Another point that I'm going to make when it comes to Noble is the fact that there was no true motive for Marsh other than perhaps just pure laziness as to why he did the thing that he did. It would have taken less effort to simply cremate the bodies and hand them back to the families respectfully. But he chose to not do that, and that decision in and of itself was very ethically and morally wrong. You cannot have ethics without morals. Those lines can be fuzzy. Ray Marsh was neither ethical nor morally correct in any of how he chose to handle these deceaseds. And he kept this up. His next ethical problem was the fact that he not only lied to these families and to all the funeral homes that worked with him about the remains, but also the fact that he replaced what would have been ashes with concrete powder in the urns to further trick people. There was a case of a woman whose husband had passed away, and he had been sent to the Tri-State Crematory without her knowledge. And she took what she believed to be his ashes and scattered them in the winds on his favorite hunting mountain. And now she will forever never get that closure of, can we test if these were actually human remains? No ethical person would ever put an already grieving family into that situation. This reopened wounds from years and years of people that had already been healing. No ethical person would ever even think about reopening all of these wounds for these families. But Ray Marsh did. Nothing about this case is ethical. There is no reason behind any of this, that any of it should have ever happened. This was a preventable, horrible mistake. And it should never have come to fruition. There is nothing ethical about this case.